So I've been sharing my story, how at 27 I was diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder and the process I went through and the healing that happened to bring me to where I am today, whole and healed and full of joy. And I'm in the middle of my story, and I've shared so much where I finally trusted a friend and I let her in on it, and even got to the part where we shared about two of the little ones that she nicknamed. But what I find really interesting is I finally, after 20 years, got up enough courage to tell my story to people and let them know about my diagnosis. But what really strange is I'm at the point where I want to tell you about some of the parts. And it's making me nervous, which is very odd. I would think that telling you about the diagnosis would make me nervous. And I think the reason why I'm so nervous to talk about them is because when I was first diagnosed and I first learned about the parts, I hated them. They messed up my life. They screwed up everything. I'm sorry they went through such a hard time, but they weren't me, and I did not like them. And it took the love and acceptance of people in my life, my counselors, and also my friend Jen, who after 24 years is still my friend. She's amazing. It took them loving and accepting me and every part of me for me to learn to accept every part of me. For me to look at the parts that I hated and embrace them and to feel bad for them. And I did get to that place eventually. And then they became like something I tried to protect. I tried to protect them because for all those years they had protected me from the memories. And so they created just a special place in my heart, and I almost treasure them. And now that I am blended and whole, they are no longer divided. I know what happened to them. And that's later on in my story, how that happened. I did not plan it. This is just part of the story. But I think because of that I treasure that, and I haven't shared it with many people. I'll tell people about the diagnosis, but I haven't really shared about the parts, except for a few close friends. And so, in vulnerability, I want to actually tell you about them because it was in my learning to love the parts that I think my healing happened. And one of the parts that I actually conversed with a lot was Rebecca. She was my little 5-year-old. And funny, although she was 5, she took care of a lot of the little parts. Like, she had her stuff together. And, you wouldn't think that a 5-year-old could do things like that, but she could. Most of the women's retreats I went on, it was Rebecca who was there. She behaved herself quite well and just kept quiet and listened and made sure that the other little ones were taken care of and that they were okay. And I knew it was Rebecca because Rebecca could not use her right arm. Her right arm hurt so bad that literally she used her left arm all the time. And that's how I knew Rebecca was close. Sometimes she was completely out and I was way far away. Sometimes she was there working with me. And she even, in working with Leah and trying to take care of the trauma, she even drew a picture for Leah. Mostly it was rulers and I will share it with you right here. It was, if you remember my story from way in the beginning, I had a dream of all these doors and I wanted out of this hallway, but I had to go through this door and it was just too dark and I wasn't ready to go there yet. Well, she was in charge of that doorway and she drew all of the doors. It was like, okay, you're getting to know some of the things that happened, but this door here, no, you can't go there. And she literally drew the boards across it and said, nope, you can't go there yet. You can't talk to those little ones. They are not ready to share and you are not ready to hear. So she was like my little security guard and kept the little ones safe. And she knew I wasn't ready to hear yet. what they had to share. And so, yeah, when I think about Rebecca, she's just very special to my heart. And it was just like, I trust that knowledge with all of you. But I do remember going from a place of just detesting the fact of who I was and hating who I was, disliking who I was. And I'm very, very glad that I had friends love and accept me exactly who I was and teach me that it was okay to love and accept me and accept Rebecca and accept the little ones. That is the beginning of all healing, is just to love yourself through that. And so I share that little piece of my story with you, and I hope in some way that this encourages you, whatever you're going through, whatever part of yourself. You don't have to be divided. You don't have to have this diagnosis. We all have memories from when we were younger. We all have things in our lives that we're not proud of ourselves for doing, or we're not proud of what happened to us, or you don't have to be divided to feel the way I felt about myself. You could also feel that way. And I just want to say, give yourself some love, give yourself some grace, give yourself some just acceptance to go, it's okay. Today's a new day. Yesterday is over. And thank you for listening to my story. Thank you for letting me share this most vulnerable piece with you. And I will be sharing more of the parts. I know Rebecca worked with another one all the time. The two of them kind of helped each other. And so I will talk more about her later. But thanks for listening to my story. There's so much more to come.